Window World is proud to present Kevin Keatsman Has Issues. Simply the best for less at windowskansascity.com.
Welcome to Chiefs Postgame, instant reaction on Kevin Keatsman Has Issues, presented by Roberts Robinson, Chevrolet Buick GMC in Excelsior Springs. Roberts Robinson makes it easy. Ask for Mike Robinson on the showroom floor or shop, click, and drive at robertsrobinson.com. Right now, up to 15% off MSRP on select Chevrolet models. Chevy, find new roads. Online at robertsrobinson.com. Elite Automation, they design and install intelligent building systems. They're all automated that can save you thousands off your utilities. Make your building great again with Elite Automation, specializing in retrofitting HVAC control systems for your building's maximum comfort and savings. It's a 2 to 4 year payback window with new HVAC control systems from Elite Automation. Mention KKHI, and Elite will provide 12 months cloud hosting free. Online at eliteautomate.com. And Buck Roofing, online at rbuckroofing.com. Ron Buck's team is available 24/7 for emergencies, so you can sleep well knowing Buck Roofing fixed the roof over your head. Hit it!
Sports, politics, life. Jocelyn's Jewelry presents Kevin Keatsman Has Issues.
The Chiefs had gone over 3 years without 1 week being out of first place, and now Kansas City finds itself alone in last place in the AFC West after a very disappointing home loss to the Los Angeles Chargers, 30-24. Welcome to Chiefs Postgame Instant Reaction in a game that will not go down in history as an extremely well-played game on either side, although the Chargers' miscues were many fewer than the Kansas City Chiefs, who basically played giveaway from the start. 3 turnovers in the first half led to a 14-point deficit for the Chiefs, but they clawed their way back by scoring on 4 straight drives. The run game was there all day. We see exactly what teams are going to do to the Chiefs. Go ahead and run it, Chiefs. No big plays downfield. Run the ball if you want. We're going to limit the big plays, and we think we can play a clean game and beat you this way. The Chargers went for 4th downs, including risky at the end of the game, a 4th and 9, where they got the conversion and then scored a touchdown with just 32 seconds left to go as Mike Williams scored in the end zone to put the Chargers up 30-24. They missed the extra point. Mahomes had 32 seconds left to engineer a drive and was unable to do so other than a long run on that drive by Mahomes to get him to midfield. The Chiefs couldn't do anything beyond that. It was sloppy football by the Chiefs. Look, we've had unprecedented success here in Kansas City, 3 consecutive AFC championship games at Arrowhead Stadium. And as we look back on it, and we know what the Chiefs are, it has been the excellent play of Patrick Mahomes that has been the key factor in every run the Chiefs have made. Every division they've won, every playoff run, Super Bowl appearances, and Super Bowl victory. It was Mahomes that starred. The Chiefs really don't have other ways to beat teams. They're not good defensively, although at times today they played better defensively. They didn't give up a bunch of rushing yards today, which was good. But with the game on the line, the Chiefs committed penalties. Things happen. They blow the lead and lose it 30-24 in the end. So it was going to take Mahomes' magic, right? And it didn't happen. The problem when you play all these close games, and the Chargers from the very beginning in this game knew the Chiefs better than the Chargers. The Chargers knew the Chiefs better than the Chiefs knew the Chargers. They came out, knew exactly what they wanted to do defensively. They challenged the Chiefs to run the ball. The Chiefs did run the ball. They marched up and down the field, and they committed turnovers like crazy and found themselves down 14-0 before they got it together. But even when they started scoring touchdowns, and the Chiefs started scoring touchdowns, it was hard. It was long drives of over 6 minutes and 10-plus plays on all the touchdown drives. It took forever. There were penalties. There were sloppy little plays. There was a lot of incomplete passes where Mahomes was scrambling around and throwing the ball out of bounds or burying it in the ground just to get rid of it. He had no time to throw. The offensive line cannot pass block. They almost didn't have enough time to throw a Hail Mary with 3 men rushing at the end of the game. Mahomes was under duress so much. The offensive line has gotten worse. The pass protection is terrible. Mahomes does not have very much time back there, but he's just a great, great player. Today, he was not a great player. He committed an absolute cardinal sin. In the last minute of the game, when the Chiefs got the ball, they were marching down, had a chance to win the game. It was tied at 24-all, and he throws an interception on a 3rd and 8, heaving it 40 yards downfield when they only needed 8 yards, trying to make that big play. That's where the Chiefs get into trouble, is when they're desperate and they have to do that. That gave the Chargers enough time to come back after the interception and get the lead in regulation. It never made it to overtime. The worst the Chiefs should have done, was get to overtime. Once they got the ball back and it was tied at 24, the worst this game should have ever been was overtime, and it wasn't. They blew it. The better team won today. The better quarterback didn't win, although Justin Herbert was terrific in this game. 26 out of 38, 281 yards, 4 touchdowns, biggest win of his NFL career by far. Mike Williams, their top receiver today, 7 catches for 122, and of course 2 touchdowns, including the game winner that put the Chargers up 30-24. Herbert may have been the better quarterback today. He actually was the better quarterback today because Mahomes had the turnovers. And, 2 interceptions for Patrick Mahomes this week, 1 last week, a pretty bad one, both with games on the line. When you're throwing interceptions with games on the line, things aren't going well for you. We know Mahomes is a great player, but the Chiefs are a sloppy football team. They're a sloppy, undisciplined team. And even when they were winning, we saw the way they won in the playoffs. They'd be down 24-0 to the Houston Texans and rally back behind Mahomes and win a game. The game plans are not good. The Chiefs fall behind every week. They never start the game with a good game plan. There's bad coaching here. There's bad play. There's arrogance. There's cockiness. There's all kinds of stuff with this football team that's costing it right now. Okay? They just got kicked in the crotch. They need to wake the F up and figure this stuff out and figure out who they are and become a cohesive team that plays disciplined, smart football. The Chiefs do not do that in any way, shape, or form. And it was really easy when they're just beating people and winning games and this division was awful and these teams were no good. It was really easy to just dismiss it and say, well, they're a little sloppy. They're a little careless. They commit a lot of penalties. They got this problem or that problem. It's easy to dismiss it when you're just rolling through your division. Well, this division is on. I don't even think the Chiefs are the favorite to win the division right now. I know it's a long season. I know it's 17 games. But if they don't clean up the way they play the game, they're going to lose a lot in this division. They're going to lose a lot of games. This was the exceptional. 4 turnovers in this ball game. You don't expect to win in the NFL if you commit 4 turnovers. When that's your deficit in turnovers, your percentage chance of winning is less than 10%. So credit Mahomes and the Chiefs offense, I guess, for getting into a position where they had a chance to win the game. They could have won it. They took a lead late with, 5 minutes to go. They took the lead in this game, 24-21. Then it's so frustrating to see the mistakes. They just do it over and over. A critical pass interference on Snead gave a 1st and goal with 3 minutes to go. They wind up getting a huge stop, an illegal shift penalty by the Chargers, and the Chiefs are able to stop them. They get this thing to overtime. Is the worst it's going to be. Chiefs have the ball. It's tied at 24. And then Mahomes with the interception that Aloy Gilman picks off with just a couple of minutes left in the game. The Chiefs ran the ball for 2 yards, took it down to the 2-minute warning. They threw sloppy, under pressure, incomplete. And then on 3rd and 8, he heaves it 40 yards downfield and with wind aided, overthrows Kelsey on a play that never had a chance to be completed. They got a lot of issues to clean up, this football team does. A lot of issues to clean up. They are in last place. They are in last place alone, looking up at the other 3 opponents. That'll get your attention. Here's the good news. The Chiefs can get better. This sport and this league are tremendous. If you improve and you get better over the course of a season, and for the Chiefs, it really isn't about adding players to the roster or finding this or finding that. They can coach their way to this. They've got to play clean football. I don't remember a team as ball hawkish as the Chargers today. They were punching and grabbing at the football from the jump, and it worked. And the Chiefs acted like, after a while, Edwards-Helaire was just like 2 arms on the ball every time he was running it. They were so scared of turning it over. In the end, Mahomes with a sloppy turnover to set the Chargers up to come back down and win the game. It was very disappointing. It was a really bad start to the game, ugly start. The Chiefs, I know Andy's a player's coach. I know he wants them to play free and easy and, be relaxed and go make plays. Players win plays. I know he wants to be that coach. I know he is that coach. This team needs some discipline. This team needs some order. They are not disciplined. And they got to figure out the offensive line pass protection. I mean, fast. Somebody's got to coach that group up, or they got to start keeping a back in there or something, because all Mahomes did today was take a couple steps back and just immediately step up in the pocket and try to find space. And the Chargers did a remarkably great job defensively of taking away the big plays downfield and getting pressure on Mahomes, so he was never comfortable. He was okay. He was 27 out of 44 for 260, 3 touchdowns. Most quarterbacks will take that. But 2 interceptions and all those incompletions, 17 incompletions. Not a good day for the Chiefs. This was ugly football, penalties included. You can't do this. I don't know how I look at I don't think the Chiefs are the favorite in the AFC West. I can't tell you who is, and I'm not going to tell you the Chiefs aren't going to win the AFC West because they may. These look like things they could clean up, but here's what we know. The division got better. The conference got better. The Browns are an improving team. The Ravens are an improving team. Everybody in this division, improving teams. We see them everywhere. The Chiefs have had a stranglehold for 3 years on this conference. For 3 years, the Chiefs have had a stranglehold on the AFC. Well, guess what? The Chiefs haven't gotten any better. They haven't. They were Super Bowl champs. It's hard to get better than that. They slipped back last year. We saw what Tampa did, the 2-deep zone, and now everybody's playing it, and the Chiefs don't have an answer for it. When you make the Chiefs go take 7 minutes to score, 13 plays, it's hard. It looks difficult. They can get careless with the football. You can get a turnover when you're making them do that. When you don't allow the Chiefs to make big plays, if you make them work for their touchdowns, it's a completely different type ball game, and that's what the Chiefs had to do today. They were running it at will. I mean, they ran it great today. 186 on the ground for Kansas City. Clyde Edwards-Helaire with 100 yards in the game. Kelsey had 104 receiving on 7 catches. Tyreek Hill, 5 catches for 56 yards. But you see the blueprint. Everybody's going to play the Chiefs this way. Everybody. Even the Ravens did some of it last week, and they're strictly a man defense. And they played some of this 2-deep zone. You keep Tyreek Hill out of beating you downfield and getting behind you. You make Mahomes engineer the drive. The Chiefs are just, we compare their offense sometimes to the Globetrotters. When you go watch the Harlem Globetrotters, they don't really care for the ball. They're fancy, fun. That's what the Chiefs are. When you do that, and you have to do it 13 times to get in the end zone, there's a pretty good chance you're going to get sloppy and fumble one or turn it over or do something. And that's what teams are doing to the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not saying I have the answers. I'm not getting paid to come up with the answers if I'm the Chiefs. I know their defense is not going to be good this year. At times today, it was better than it's been. But the bottom line is they still gave up 30 points in regulation, and you can't do it. Yes, the turnover set up some short fields. They didn't give up a ton of yards. It wasn't one of those days where it was just gash, and the run defense was better, but you still give up 30 points, and you can't do it. You got to stop teams. You have to understand that every opponent that's going to play you is going to go for it on 4th down. The Chiefs made that late stop on 3rd down, and the celebration on the field was on like, woo, yeah, okay, off we go. They pulled their kicker off. They said, we're not kicking this. We're going to go for it. Of course they go for it. Then they get a false start. Now it's 4th and 9 instead of 4th and 4, and the Chargers convert that. I mean, you got to know what these teams are going to do against the Chiefs. There's nobody coming in playing traditional football against Kansas City. They're not going to do it. They aren't. The Chargers prove that. This Brandon Staley, this new coach, he is not going to play traditional football against the Chiefs. And Justin Herbert became a man today in the NFL. He matured, and this team took a step and matured. We knew this was going to be a tough game. We knew it was going to be a tight game. All these division games are going to be hard. They're all going to do the same thing. They're all going to go for 4th and 4. Anywhere near midfield, these teams are going to go for it. And we know now the statistics are that it pays off, especially over the course of a game. If you don't wait until, some teams will wait until the last minute, make a gutsy call with a game on the line and say, we'll go for it. That's what people did in the old days. No, now it's just part of what you do. There's a down and a distance. There are situations in games. We're going to go get the lead. We're going to get the lead on Kansas City. And when we do, the game changes. The Chiefs now try to play flawlessly. They can't play as free and easy. You could see that with the Chiefs today. The same thing happened in the Super Bowl last year where the Chiefs never really came back in that game. They never came back in that game. They got down. They came back in this one, but it wasn't pretty. It was hard work, and it was sloppy at times. And they got in a position to win. I still have to give the Chiefs credit for getting in position to win, but this isn't going to work. This isn't good enough. The Chargers, there's plenty of teams out there better than the Chargers, okay? And you just got punked on your home field in front of a sellout crowd. To be honest, on a 90-degree day where it looked to me like the Chargers were in better shape than the Chiefs, a lot of Chiefs players looked tired toward the end of the game. Some drop passes, some lack of focus. Certainly the offensive line was just abused all day again today by the Chargers defensive line this time. There's a million issues to clean up. It's a 17-game schedule. It's a hard one. The Chiefs play nothing but good teams. There's nothing easy about this schedule. It just doesn't lighten up anywhere. The division's gotten harder. We knew that would happen. We knew the division would eventually get better, that the Chiefs weren't just going to sit there and go undefeated in the division every year, 6-0, and win the darn thing. Okay? So they got problems now. They're 0-1 in the division, and they've got to dig their way out of this. These things are fixable. The Chiefs aren't anywhere near what they need to be. If we want to start talking about postseason runs and an AFC championship game or Super Bowl appearance, I mean, the Chiefs really don't even look like a wild card team right now, to be honest. There's too many mistakes, and the defense gives up 30 every game. And if you're going to give up 30 every game, you're just not a playoff team. They got away with this in 2018 and advanced to the AFC Championship game with a very bad defense. I think this defense can be better than that, but I'm not sure. They run around and celebrate when they make a play like they got some kind of swagger, but they don't consistently make plays. Chris Jones trash talks the whole game. I mean, you gave up 30 again. What are you out there getting in Herbert's face for, trash talking him right and left? I don't get it. They got to figure the defense out, and man, by most accounts, the formula was there for the Chiefs to win today. If you knew you're playing at home and you know you're going to rush for 186 yards, you ought to wallop the team you're playing. You should. But so sloppy, such dirty football, dirty, sloppy football, ugly, sloppy football, undisciplined. That's what the Chiefs are. They are not a disciplined football team. That's across the board. That's offensive too. They're not very disciplined on the offensive side either. That seems to be the way they roll, and it seems to be the way Andy likes it. But then when you've got to be serious, when you've got to not turn it over, when you have to understand things like, okay, the worst that's going to happen here is we're going to punt this football away, and there's only a few seconds left, and this baby's going to overtime. That's the worst that can happen. You can't throw the interception there. And for the life of me, I don't know why Alohi Gilman didn't get up off the ground and run it back a little. He didn't. He just laid there. No Chief touched him. They blew the whistle because he laid on the ball. Just extremely disappointing. We'll see where the season takes us. I think the Chiefs are going to win a bunch of games. They don't look. What would be a good record now? Would you take 11-6? I would. I'd take 11-6, right? From what I see and what I'm looking at, I'll take 11-6 right now. That would be 10-4 the rest of the way. Yeah, I'd gladly take 11-6. And if that's a wild card, it's a wild card. Maybe it gets you the division if you won the right games, but it doesn't matter. There's only one seed in the AFC that will get the playoff, the super wild card weekend off in January anyway. So I think 11-6 would be great. If they went 10-4 from here, that'd be great. With this defense, I'll take that. But I don't know. All bets are off on this season. All bets are off. The Chiefs don't seem to be very serious about what they need to do game in and game out. They're going to have to be. They're going to have to be, because you just don't lose like this at home. 4 turnovers. 4 turnovers. It's not like there was a snow blizzard or something ripping through the stadium. No, 90-degree day. It was a little windy, but the wind wasn't really a factor in those turnovers. It's sloppy football. And Mahomes is part of it. As good as he is, and as much as you just sit there over and over and over every time and think, oh, he's going to go win the game, he made a lot of mistakes today too. Now, he's got a really hard job, because if you put a pedometer on that guy, I want to know how much he runs around, because there's never a clean pocket. There's not one pass play other than just like the shovel pass thing they do, or a little quick slant, which are basically running plays where you toss the ball forward. There's no real passing play 10 yards down the field or more. There was no real passing play all day where he just stood in a clean pocket and delivered. No, he's getting hit. He's bouncing around. He's stepping up. He's getting out. It's ugliness. It was ugly, ugly, ugly all over. And again, there's this. I'm not into silver linings. This team, they've been to back-to-back Super Bowls. They're a huge favorite. They're a 7-point favorite in an NFL game. They're supposed to win the division. They have the best player in the league. And if you can't find a way to win games at home, and Cleveland was the better team at Arrowhead 3 weeks ago. They were better than the Chiefs. The Chiefs just had a great 3-minute stretch late in the game and pulled the rabbit out of the hat. But Cleveland was the better team most of that game. The Chiefs have not demonstrated against any of their opponents yet that they're the better team. That's the takeaway from this one. The Browns, the Ravens, and the Chargers. We cannot say the Chiefs are better than any of them. We cannot say that anymore. We've watched it. It's 180 minutes of football now that we've watched. And the Chiefs have not demonstrated that they're better than any of those three teams. There's all kinds of people that can beat the Chiefs. So they better figure it out. They better get back at it. They better get serious about being disciplined and sound, because this was ugly, ugly football as the Chiefs are in last place all alone in the AFC West with a 1-2 start. Much more coming up on this and all the other football on the Monday podcast. Stan Weber will be with us for our football feast. He'll break this down. We'll talk about the rest of the NFL. Missouri's lost to Boston College. Missouri, KU, and K-State all lost. So, and the Chiefs lost. It'll be a great show. It actually will be. Sometimes when they lose, you can get your frustrations out, by just letting it go and speaking the truth. You're going to get a lot of that from Stan on the football feast coming up on Monday. That's it for Instant Reaction Chiefs postgame. The Chiefs lose 30-24 to the LA Chargers. They're in last place at 1-2.
Thanks for listening to Kevin Keatsman Has Issues, presented by Roberts Robinson Chevrolet Buick GMC. To get exclusive patrons-only podcasts, receive a weekly newsletter, and attend in-person patrons-only parties, visit kkhasissues.com and become a patron today. This has been a production of Crooked Tail Media Incorporated.